Welcome to Withdraw Consent. My name is Victor. This is Jack. So today we're going to be talking about Greater Israel and is it a real thing? Do Jews actually believe in this and do they want this? And Jack, teach us.
Those are the two questions. Is it a real thing?
Okay.
And then do they want it? Because if it's a real thing and three quacks out in the woods want it, we don't really care. Okay? Okay, so Victor hasn't seen this yet, but I'm going to put a map of Greater Israel up on the screen and see what you think about it. Go for it.
Holy.
Yeah.
Look,
it's half of Iraq. It's all of Jordan. It's all of Lebanon. It's most of Syria. It's over 2/3 of Syria. It gets up into Turkey at the top.
And look at how much is Saudi Arabia and all the way into Africa like that?
Yeah, we'll say a third of so stop short of Baghdad in Iraq. A third of Saudi Arabia, maybe 30%, whatever. All of eastern along the sea.
Yeah, I think the southeast is the most stunning. And how far, like it's all the way across the Sinai Peninsula or whatever right there?
The Sinai Peninsula, Eastern Egypt, along the water, almost all the way down. Oh, no, that is all the way down to Sudan. And
but they got the Nile. It's all
yeah. Oh, yeah. No, they're getting the pyramids. They're getting the pyramids.
Wow.
Right? Okay, go ahead.
I just have a question. Is this like the biblical lines or is this something they just made up?
Okay, we're going to get into that. But,
okay, cool.
But they basically say that this is the biblical lines. You know?
Wow.
Okay, so you remember we did that episode on Yitzhak Rabin?
Yes.
And how he got assassinated. He was prime minister of Israel. And there's no hope for... my point was there's no hope for...
Middle ground.
Middle ground.
Yeah.
But one of the quotes I read from him when we were doing that episode was, the Bible is not a land registry.
Okay.
So Bible is a land registry, people.
Okay.
And you got to pick and choose. Because, I mean, if you're going to Egypt and stuff, you're talking about when Joseph was ruling Egypt. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then you're saying... Because it wasn't Egyptians... They were Egyptians there.
But they left Egypt to go to the promised land. That means they weren't in the promised land.
But now they want it back, though, you know?
But it wasn't theirs.
It doesn't matter. They briefly stayed there. You know, New York, they want to annex New York. No, I'm just kidding. I made that far.
So anywhere you go, at any point in history, it's yours.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Mine. Okay. Mayanism. Okay. So basically... That's what a moderate looks like. The Bible's not a land registry. Then you remember he said Ramallah, we can talk about. Jerusalem, I'm a hardliner on. But he's not talking about annexing the Jordan Valley or the next thing, because that's probably the next place they're going. And so basically, we want to know, do you remember why I started researching this? I told you a story about it, about Netanyahu. Do you remember that?
Is this where the interview in his living room or something?
No, this is different.
Okay.
This is where he's holding the map up. Right?
Okay, yeah.
And so basically, I heard on the internet never lies to you,
nope,
that Netanyahu did a press conference before, or some type of talk before October 7th, where he held up a map of Greater Israel.
Like that? Like with those lines that
right.
you just showed? Wow.
Now, that's what I heard. That's completely false.
Oh, okay.
So if you hear it, I'm going to put the picture up on the screen, but basically... because I don't have the picture yet, so I'll just explain it to you. But basically, he's holding up a map, and they're also mad because there's no Palestine on it. But Israel's very small on the map, so Palestine would be 2 specks, you know. And then basically, these countries are highlighted, and he's basically bragging that all the countries, the entire countries highlighted, have favorable or okay political relations with Israel. You know?
Okay.
And so then somebody on the internet just lied about it, but I'm glad they did because I got to research this and found out some interesting stuff about it. Basically, there's an article. I'm gonna link it below. It's called Truth Out. And here's the quote from them. It says, the inclusion of Palestinian lands and sometimes land belonging to Syria and Lebanon in Israeli maps is common among believers of the concept of Eretz Yisrael, or Greater Israel, a key part of ultra-nationalist Zionism that claims all these lands belong to a Zionist state. So that quote is only talking about Palestinian lands and some lands of Syria and Lebanon, so north only. But they're saying that it is a key part of the ultra-nationalist Zion. Okay? And then this is pretty... okay, if you don't know, Netanyahu has some wackos surrounding him. These guys are hardliners. These are the guys where they're doing something so crazy, you just got to go pull them back and be like, bro, you're showing them everything. You know, we're on the same side. You know we want this stuff, but you can't. Okay, so... 2023, Netanyahu's finance minister, named Bezalel Smotrich, of course, spoke from a podium adorned with a map that also included Palestine, Lebanon, and Syria as part of Greater Israel. I'll pop that on the screen. It looks very similar to the map I showed you a little bit ago. So he's standing at the podium. It's on the front of the podium. And he's giving this thing causing massive outrage. Like, what if I was the finance minister of the United States and I just drew in states in Mexico?
Right. Or
You know, and it said
Canada,
these 58 states. And you're Mexican, you're looking at it, you're like, dude, are you serious? Do you know what I mean?
They'd be happy. Probably.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe
true.
Canada wouldn't
It
like
would expedite things.
Yeah.
Okay. Or somebody we're even hostile to, though.
Sure.
You know, so it'd be better if it was like Russia, and I just grabbed 3 states in eastern Russia.
Yeah.
And there's the 50, whatever, you know? So anyways, I think it's pretty valid. I want to make this point.
Wait, so he's up there giving the speech with the map on the podium. Does he ever address why the map is drawn that way?
I do not think so.
Okay, gotcha.
He's just adorning it because these guys are bold.
Wow.
You know? And I've heard like another guy, I don't know, he was one of his ministers, but he was being addressed about the settlers, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy just turns to the camera and he's like, we're going to settle every inch of this land. You said illegal settlements? There's hundreds of thousands of us here. It's ours now, and we're going to settle more. You know what I mean? It's like, no. You're saying the quiet part out loud.
Right.
They don't care. They got it under control because they got daddy over here,
Totally.
you know? The United States. So when I look at this, I see that the difference between the Greater Reich in Germany, right, and then what they're doing here in Israel is that the areas that they wanted to make part of the Greater Reich all had a high percentages of, now this is just the Greater Reich that they want to bring, you know what I mean? Not expansion.
Okay, gotcha. So this is at the beginning of the war.
Yeah,
like
this
Austria
is Austria, the Sudets and land, this and that. But they all have massive percentages, like in the 90s, of ethnic and cultural Germans. So when you look at, the war started over the reunification of the Greater Reich, which is just allowing nearby Germans who've always been part of Germany to have self-determination and join Germany. That's why we fought World War II. Silly, right? Because they were in the right. You're allowed to do that, you know? So basically, this scenario, though, I'm relating it to World War II terms, is more like Lebensraum. The Lebensraum, we need land for our people in the East to settle.
Oh, okay.
There's already people there, and they're not Germans. They're not ethnic. They're not culturally German. What are you going to do with the people? This is what they're doing, though. Because imagine, do you think there's going to be any like Lebanese left in Lebanon?
If they
after
move
Greater
in?
Israel? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and you're going to be like 100 miles within the border because we're taking southern Syria, too. Where are those people going to go? This is Lebensraum. So this is the people have to be displaced, like they're doing now.
Genocided.
Or genocide, depending on it's easier to displace them, like they're doing now in Gaza, you know? So, I mean, well, in general, I think this is very important because if you don't understand that this concept exists, then it's hard to understand a lot of situations going on there right now. This is the end game.
Right, but you understand the why that they do certain things.
Right.
And why they're not willing to give stuff back and let the Palestinians be or anything like that.
And how they need them off the land.
Right.
And they can never give them the right of return. And so, like, in a previous article, in a previous episode, I had mentioned an Al Jazeera article where they were talking about the potential future annexation of Jordan Valley. But why do they want Jordan Valley? What's going on over there? Doesn't matter. They're going to make up a scenario.
Right.
And get beyond that. And then beyond that. And that's the goal, as long as daddy will help them. So I watched this guy, right? The question is this. In the future, is it going to keep going like this? And here's my answer to that. I watched this guy. His name's Hamza on YouTube, and he's a TikToker with like 7-8 million. He's like the 20-year-old Palestinian kid who lives in the United States. And he uses Omegle, which is a chat thing, and it's like chat roulette, I guess. And he can focus it on Israel and just get all Israelis.
Oh, okay.
But he's USA.
Gotcha.
And then he says, where are you from? Israel. I'm Palestinian. And he gets reactions by like 9-year-olds and 11-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 15-year-olds, IDF soldiers, people who are waiting on there looking for him because they want to argue with him. And they're at 40, a shop owner at 40, 60-year-olds, women, men, all types, you know. And if he gets strong emotional reactions, he'll put it on TikTok as little clips.
Sure.
But he'll have these 2-hour conversations with anybody.
Wow.
And he doesn't know everything, but he knows a lot, you know, about the region. And basically, I'm willing, after watching this, I've said on many videos before that Americans are the most propagandized people in the world. It's definitely not. It's Israelis. They are so programmed, it's insane. Like, he starts asking about the education, and he's like, okay, so what happened in 1948? And they're like, yeah, that's when we declared independence. We have Independence Day every year. And it's like, well, I mean, but what else happened? Oh, the Arabs attacked us and we battled. Well, what else happened? Anything else? No civil war mentioned in here? And then he's like, well, what about the Palestinians? And they're like, no, I mean, there was nobody here when we got here. It was just empty desert.
Wow.
The Arabs attacked because you were in a civil war with the Palestinians who you were trying to displace. And then he's like, what about the Nakba? And they're like, oh, is that a Palestinian holiday? They don't even know.
Interesting.
And he's talking to this dude who's 19. He's 20. The dude's 19. And the guy says that. He says, "Is it?" But this guy's a ceasefire guy. He's a Jewish guy, and he's like, "No, we shouldn't be doing this." I don't really know why, but I know it's wrong what we're doing. I know we shouldn't be killing babies, you know. And so he tells him about the Nakba, you know. And the guy's researches all types of stuff, but he's never even heard the word, so he can't go search it. And when he does Google search something, and then Hamza in the U.S. Google searches, they get different answers.
Ooh.
They're so these people are so basically what he does is he gets these kids on 9, 11, 13, whatever, just whoever comes on, you know. If they do anything decent, you know, indecent, and he's never rude to them, you know.
Sure.
And it's all being live streamed, so you can't, you know. Anyways, and the kids will immediately start screaming, yeah, you know, unalive all the Palestinian babies. What? Why? And they say because they're little people who create fear in people when they grow up, right? And so, but no, they're only 5 right now. No, but that's how they train them. They train them to go out and, you know, blow themselves up here, you know? And so they don't deserve to live. And it's like, you know what this person talking is? You're that person. You're the person you're claiming that 5-year-old is. You've been so indoctrinated that you're willing to unalive children. I'm just going to say so many bad words in this right. at this episode. And then you're like, we have to end the lives of people who are like that.
Right.
It's you. Look in the mirror. It's you. It's a 9-year-old kid just ravenous with murderous rage.
Right.
So basically, the reason why I'm telling you this story is when you see these kids, and there are a few on there who are like ceasefire, and they're more liberal. So Netanyahu's like far right. So then these are the liberal people who are like, no, it's not, you know, like actual liberal. Okay. It's a tiny minority of the people he talks to. Anyways, and all the kids he talks to, they think he's lying. Like, there's no Nakba. That's not a thing. You just lied about that. There was no one here. We know there was no one here when we got here. You know? Because they're so indoctrinated. And the reason why I'm telling the story, though, is because do you think that these kids that I just described to you, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, about to go in the IDF, because it's mandatory, right? Do you think these kids are going to create an Israel in the future that's moderate?
No.
It's going to be more and more extreme. It's like, it's exactly like what Hitler wanted to do. Hitler got everybody to be nationalistic. Everything started going perfectly. And he's like, now let's raise nationalistic kids and send them to Hitler Youth. Those kids were going to be fanatically more, even though the adults were fanatic. And that's what they're doing here. And it's a great way to consolidate power and stuff if you're being really good for the people.
But this is it's breeding murderous rage and all that.
Right. But see, for them, what they teach is what's really good for the people is greater Israel. First, we got to secure the Israel we got, right? So how about move over to the West Bank? We'll make an illegal settlement with us. You know what I mean? So they're not actually. I mean, they are pursuing the best interest of the people, but they're pure evil.
Yeah, but I mean, you're still having to program your people that it's okay to slaughter these people or.
Right.
You know, have those thoughts.
Yeah, if ever your programming to control the masses includes unaliving babies, I'm just going to say you're the bad guy.
You might be the bad guy.
Okay, so what do you think about all this?
It just makes sense to me. It really, you know, years ago you hear all the stuff happening in the West Bank and all that, and it doesn't make sense. But now that you hear the reasoning and what their end goal is, it all fits into this overall move to slowly gobble up land until they have what they think is theirs. So, yeah, very interesting.
Okay, I got another interesting fact it's not really related, but it's got the Jews.
Cool.
So I Googled today and I read, wait a second, are there any Jews in Russia? Because I have a feeling there's not. You know, so I looked, I just don't know.
Well, didn't they get kicked out at some point in the 60s or something?
Yeah, but then after that it was okay, I guess.
Oh, okay.
You know? And Putin, like I've reading about it, Putin's visited Israel, this and that. Like he's really rare. He's accepting of them. But there's like, I don't know, one article said 85,000, another article said 150,000. So not really a ton. Okay. And they got like, I think 140 million people, somewhere around there. And so basically, right now, we're filming this. What's today's date? The 2nd?
Yep, March 2nd.
Okay, March 2nd. Okay, cool. Like right now, they're just on an anti-Semitism tear.
Oh, really?
They're burning stuff down. I was just reading this article. It was just wild, you know? And then Putin's just not saying nothing. And his ministers are now getting into it because he's got some really anti-Semitic ministers. And they're just over it.
How is that on the news here? Because
you would think.
Because if you want them to be the bad guys, then say that they're anti-Semitic.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah.
But they're just like totally against what Israel's doing in Gaza.
Okay.
And so it's like, if you're looking, I wonder if Russia's the bad guy. Well, they hate genocide.
Okay.
right? But then
Yep.
Putin's a war criminal because of the kids he rescued
Yeah.
out of
right.
Ukraine.
Can't
So
do
then that kind of makes him even, I guess. No, just
right.
kidding. It's clown world, you know?
It's really, everything is backwards.
Okay.
All right. Do you guys learn anything about Greater Israel? I thought it was very fascinating from my perspective. Leave us any comments if we missed anything, and hopefully we'll see you next time.